Hi, welcome to my designer diary. So there was no video last week because we had a bit of a weather thing going on here, and we had no power, no electricity, no internet or anything for sort of 6, 7 days. So that had a bit of an impact on my Kickstarter. So I'll take you through it. So yeah, this is the Kickstarter page um, with the project sidebar open. So it actually raised £687. I don't really know what that is in dollars. It won't show me the dollar amount now that the project is completed. And now on this side, I had obviously there's the £1 tier that anyone can do, then a £4 tier, £8 tier, £18 tier, and then a £43 tier, which I didn't really expect anyone to take, but three people did. So that's really cool. My goal was £43, so any one that took that automatically funded my entire project. So that's cool. If I go to the dashboard, um, right, here we go. Um, so they show you this graph, and this kind of fills in uh, each day as your project goes on. So here's like the first 48 hours, which is your main period of growth, and you get the biggest growth then because that's when you're sending out your emails and any other promotion that you've sent out. Um, you can ask DriveThru to send two emails on your behalf. And generally, it's one just on launch, and one just before the last 48 hours. So that's this big you know spike here, um, and then sort of steady growth. While I I exchanged some links with people and that sort of thing. Now, the week when I had no electricity is this fallow period here, and now this should ideally have been much bigger this last peak because often your they conventional wisdom says you get a third of your funding in your first 2 days and a third of your funding in your last 2 days and a third of your funding in the rest of the time. So if I had been able to actively promote the Kickstarter, I was not necessarily that steep, but I've expected a kind of a level but slow growth over this middle period. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't reach out to people to doing other solo Kickstarters. Now, I promoted someone else's Kickstarter, and I was going to ask them to promote me, but I just couldn't get online, so I couldn't do that. So none of that happened in this period. So that last kick up there is all basically organic traffic from uh, Kickstarter. Now, I said you can ask DriveThru to do two emails. I asked for the first one. I never got a chance to ask for the second one. So there was no second DriveThru email. Um, So yeah, there's not a lot I could do with that. So these are the referrers. This is where my traffic came from. And the first one is my first email um, to my private list, about 1,000 people, of which I got 10 conversions. So about a 1% conversion rate, and they provided 21% of all the funding. DriveThruRPG 1 is my drive-through email list. That was the first email. I got 14 people and they provide 16%. So those two together, over a third of my funding came from those first two emails on day one. So now you're getting a bit more of a mixed bag. And it's these actually these Kickstarter ones which are the most interesting to me. But Earl of Fife, they helped out. They uh, promoted my Kickstarter. They generated 5% there, and so on. You can see, and it's generally it's listed in order of the amount pledged. Um, but it's the Kickstarter organic traffic that's the most interesting to me. There's a few other minor ones on the second page, but nothing particularly relevant. Um, about 18% of the people that were following the project before I went live converted, which is kind of what I expected. When you're dealing with very small numbers, I know there were people that um, were following just to see how the project would do. They were other publishers, so I wasn't expecting a huge conversion rate there. That's not right. Now this one's interesting. The reward popularity. So I had the 5 tiers. So there's the little sort of no reward one, and it's only backer kit. They're the only people that did the 1 tier, and every Kickstarter I've seen has backer kits toss in £1 for no reward. Now the next biggest tier, the most common, oh, what is that? Um, I don't know why that's wobbling. Right, that's um, so the next tier, so the £4 tier got 25 out of the 62 backers, 40% backers, 15% of the money raised. As we go up the price of the tiers, so although slightly less people backed um, the £8 tier, that was 16%. Now this one, the £18 tier, produced 50% of all the money raised, which means it's you know, aiming for the lower price ranges. It isn't actually that economic. You're better off putting together a few bonus PDFs or print on demand files, to make a nice bundle that you know, people are prepared to spend the money on, because it seems like $20 or so wasn't out of people's price range. And then there's the three backers. So nearly 20% of all the money came from those three backers that backed at the highest tier. Um, and I don't think right, there's nothing else relevant down here that I can show you. So that's the the back end of the Kickstarter. If you've never run one, you can't see this before you go live, which is really, really frustrating, because you can create custom referrers in. I know that section has disappeared, but there's a section where things like this PPM email one, drive through one, Earl of 5, Reddit. You can create those, and you can create any you like, but you can't create them before you go live. So if I what I did, I sent all the details to DriveThru about the to promote it. Then on the day when I clicked live, I immediately created this second uh, referrer and sent them that link and said, "Oh, could you just swap this link in the email?" Which means these then became trackable rather than just simply external. Anything which is completely untrackable uses this direct traffic with no referrer information, which is not very useful. So that's it. It was very unfortunate that I couldn't do any publicity or promotion in the last third. Um, but that's it. It was completely unplanned. And yeah, there's uh, nothing I could do about it. Average pledge £11, so what, about $12 or so. So that's yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I'm glad I created these other tiers. I'm glad I did the 43 dollar tier. £43, about $50. Okay, so that's it. That the project succeeded. I've got something like 20 organic Kickstarter backers who I want to reach out to and say, look, if I do more solo related Kickstarters, could I email you? And uh, hopefully, some or all of them will say yes, which will be the start of a dedicated uh, a, a Kickstarter mailing list. And as I run more Kickstarters in 2023, I want to build up that mailing list and try and push on to bigger targets. You can see where the goal is here. It was literally it's about 59 minutes I took to hit that goal. Um, and what I'm hoping is that as my mailing list gets bigger, I will hit that goal sooner. The more Kickstarters I've run, and the better the idea I get for um, uh, the amounts they're actually going to earn, then I might modify the goal. But choosing a really, really low goal is really low stress. If there's an agonizing moment where when you go live and you send the emails and you get no backers, and you can sit there and you can keep refreshing the page and you get no backers, or just $1 or $2, or um, and you think, is it or isn't going to fund? I was watching a project for a Worlds Without Number adventure, and they really didn't fund until the last day or so, which was a little bit agonizing to watch them, their progress. So it would be nice to have a bigger body of experience before I try anything bigger. Um, but yeah, in general, I am quite pleased with this. This project earns about half of what's my D&D adventure projects uh, uh, raised. But D&D compared to solo play, I was expecting a tiny fraction of what the D&D adventure earned. So I am actually very, very pleased. Technically it underperformed because I couldn't do any marketing, and it still massively exceeded my expectations. So yeah, I've got absolutely nothing to complain about. So that's it. That is the last a video to do with this Kickstarter. Um, and you should have a fair idea of what my intentions are for next year. So I will do another uh, Kickstarter videos when I run my second Kickstarter in early 2023. Okay, so thank you for watching.